Thank you for joining us tonight, both here at City Hall and those watching from home on ACTV. Welcome to our monthly business session of the Unified Government of Athens, Clarke County.
He's not in charge.
Thank you. And we don't have any new business tonight, and we don't have any planning commission items, so this is the point in the meeting that any citizen who would like to speak to us on any item would come to the podium, state your name and address, and please remember our 3-minute rule. This time, any item that you wish to speak on.
My name is Josh Wayne, 125 Greek Park Circle. I would like to thank the Commission and the Mayor for hearing us speak. It means a lot as a college student to be able to speak to you guys, the people that have the ability to make change. Since our last appearance, we have joined forces with many locals who care a great deal about change in Athens, Clarke County. What we ask for tonight is attainable and in no way promotes the use or abuse of drugs. Rather, our plea is for a more sensible drug policy in Athens, Clarke County. What we propose is simple and effective. We ask the Commission to create a parallel ordinance for marijuana possession offenses. We ask that officers and prosecutors have the right to decide between Georgia law, which says to arrest somebody, or a new parallel ordinance that would say, let's give somebody a fine. It is our hope that this ordinance accomplishes the goal of easing the strain on our overcrowded prisons. As you know, we passed the bill, $80 million to spend on new prisons. I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from Jimmy Carter. Penalties against possession of a drug should not be more damaging to the individual than the use of the drug itself. And where they are, they should be changed. Nowhere is this more clear than in the law against possession of marijuana in private for personal use. Therefore, I support legislation amending federal law to eliminate all federal criminal penalties for the possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana. We hope that the Commission will align with these views and the views of the people. We did a poll with the PPP, and they found that 62% of Georgians support decriminalization of marijuana. We know that we cannot ask for decriminalization, but we know that a parallel ordinance is very attainable. We have the power to make meaningful change that voters support. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Wade.
Good evening. My name is Sean Pollitt, and I reside in 515 Baxter Street, Georgia, Athens, Georgia. And I just wanted to build off my coworker Josh Wayne's argument that President Jimmy Carter's quote is a powerful one, and it's something you really should let sink in. When a drug does no more damage than the penalty set with it, that is when we have to look into ourselves. We have to understand that kids go out every day and they smoke marijuana. That is not a surprising fact. We know that. It is in our culture. We make movies about it. We laugh about it because it's so common. If you found out your neighbor smoked meth, that is a surprising thing to hear. Marijuana, you're like, oh, okay. But he gets caught with that, his life is ruined. I want you to know that any kid that gets caught, any job application they want to put on, they have to put that on there. And even though it might say it won't really affect your employment, you know it does. Misdemeanors shouldn't ruin a kid's life, but a misdemeanor with the possession of marijuana or paraphernalia will hamper that kid's life. And it's because these policies that stay in place, because of the choices you choose to make to allow this to exist, kids' lives are ruined every day. And I just wanted to put in your perspective, these are 5 people within the last 7 days whose lives will never be the same because of simple possession. DeMarcus Atkinson, Eric Simple, Andrew House, Johnny Martinez, Anthony Robinson, all for simple possession, and these people's lives in the last 7 days are changed forever because they were found with a plant in their pocket. All I ask is for you to support this dual ordinance. Officers should have a choice whether to ruin a kid's life or to actually let them go with a simple fine. You win, you still get the money, and the kid can still go on. He's scared to death of what just happened, and he might make better choices. Or he's a responsible adult who paid the fine and is going to smoke a plant that is no harmful to him than breathing carbon emissions by cars. All I want you to do is work with us. We want to change the future for the better. We want the kids of University of Georgia, University of North Georgia, and all the colleges around here to be able to live successful lives and be successful adults and make their own personal choices on what they wish to put in their bodies as long as it does not harm the people around them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pollock.
Hi, my name is Morgan King, and I reside in 615 Baxter Street, Athens, Georgia. I just wanted to, say some facts about marijuana use. It remains consistent despite a high level of enforcement, and there's no detectable relationship between changes in enforcement and levels of marijuana use over time. But marijuana arrests have more than doubled since 1991, while use has stayed the same. And with this, police arrest more Americans a year for marijuana than violent crimes combined, such as rape, murder, robbery, and aggravated assault. And I personally believe that our police resources should be used to go to violent crimes and other harmful drugs, because when I go downtown, I'm scared of drunk students, but I would never be scared of someone who had just used marijuana, because I see all these fights and all these people, drinking too much and throwing up and getting sick and, stuff like that. And marijuana, that just doesn't happen. So if you could just please consider the parallel ordinance to give officers, the discretion to arrest, because I think that they recognize that we're not violent people, we're not criminals. But if they could just have it up to the discretion, I think Athens would be a much better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Holderfield, 365 River Road, and I'm also speaking today regarding the parallel ordinance. Since we're talking about decriminalization, I'm just going to focus on the fact that people who smoke marijuana are not criminals. As Morgan mentioned, people go downtown all the time, and to be honest, not everybody that goes downtown is of the legal drinking age. Now that's fine, but when they go out, they, like they said, they're violent. They drink too much. Sometimes there's sexual assault, and people who smoke marijuana, that just doesn't happen. And I'm just here to request for you to please support this. Thank you.
Going off of what he just said at the end, I don't know if anyone watches Orange is the New Black, but there's an awesome...
Would you give us your name and address
Oh, I'm sorry.
first?
I live at 515 Baxter Street. I'm Hannah Hudspeth. So in Orange is the New Black, there's this awesome line where the police looks at the prisoner and she says, "The only difference in us is that you got caught." And I think that's really important, looking at if the punishment fits the crime, and I think that it's kind of easy to say that it doesn't, because it's not violent, it doesn't impede on anyone else's rights. I think it's a civil rights issue, definitely. Another thing that kind of worries people about, I guess, legalizing, but I guess in our situation, a parallel ordinance, would be the use of marijuana going up. But I think that making it a taboo in the first place kind of gives it the forbidden fruit effect, which makes people like, oh, I can't do this, so I'm going to do it. Like, it adds a thrill and everything. The Journal of Public Health said citizens who live with decriminalization laws consume marijuana at the rates less than or comparable to those who live in regions where its possession is a criminal offense. So like Morgan said, over history, like no matter what the law is, the use is going to stay the same. So we should start like putting that to our advantage and making money off of it instead of spending our tax money incarcerating people for this. Again, like, this is a civil rights issue. The government is impeding on our rights. We could be using the money that we make off of the citations with the parallel ordinance to be used for new jails or schools or government housing. Like, we could be benefiting off of this, definitely. And Nancy, I know that as mayor, you want to do something and make a positive change in Athens. And I think that not only would this fight for your people's civil rights, but also it would definitely send you down in history if Athens was the first to start supporting this in Georgia. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. You may have created a monster. Be careful.
Hello, I'm Jordan Hobdy. I'm at 365 River Road. I wanted to start off with a funny story that happened to me today. I was trying to Google the address here to post it on Facebook to encourage people to come. As soon as I typed in Athens, Clarke County on Google, the first thing that popped up was Athens, Clarke County Jail. So that's obviously the most searched thing. So it's not Athens, Clarke County schools or libraries, it's jail. And ironically, there's 420 people currently in Athens, Clarke County Jail, and 234 people have been arrested and charged in the last 7 days. The reason we should decriminalize marijuana in Athens, though, is that it would allow police resources to deal with more serious crimes. I looked up some UGA crime statistics today, and there have been 71 reported cases of rape with 0 arrests. 0% arrests for rape. Drug possession, though, there's 141 cases with 68 arrests, so that's a 48% arrest rate for drug possession, but 0 for rape. Another reason is the criminal prohibition of marijuana is worse than actual drug use itself. It costs on average $21,039 to house a prisoner for a year. So on average, that's about $57 a day. In 2011, there was 663,032 people arrested for possession of marijuana. If each one of them just spent 1 day in jail, that would cost us $37,792,824. $37 million for each person to spend 1 day in jail for simple possession of marijuana. That exceeds violent crime by over 100,000 people. Some presidents that have smoked marijuana, Obama, and I quote, said, "When I was a kid, I inhaled frequently. That was the point." Our president of the United States has admitted to doing it. George W. Bush also, and JFK smoked it for chronic back pain. Thomas Jefferson and George Washington are both founding fathers who wrote legislation as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution that we still use today. So obviously it couldn't have been too terrible for them, right? Some other successful people, Michael Phelps, LeBron James, Bill Gates, and Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is worth $3 billion, just to name a few. So is getting caught with marijuana really that bad that we should ruin students' and citizens' future? Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Hi, my name is Paula Yakovleva, and I live at 515 Baxter Street. And I am here to tell you that I support the parallel ordinance. So one of the few pertinent arguments against marijuana is that you're lighting that it's hazardous to your health. And yes, lighting a plant and inhaling it is hazardous to your health. However, tobacco is also a plant that many light on fire and inhale, and it is completely legal and sold and taxed. This plant, however, causes more deaths than car accidents yearly. And it serves as something to relax. People take a smoke after work. They use it to kind of let go of their stress. And marijuana is used the same way. Of course, I'm not saying that tobacco should be illegal. I understand that it's a huge part of our economy, and I'm not saying that at all. But it doesn't make sense to me that marijuana, which is used for the same purpose and is less harmful, is illegal and ruins many people's lives. On top of that, many of my friends that are on probation and are drug tested every month turn to tobacco to relax because they're unable to smoke marijuana. Tobacco causes cancer, and nicotine contains many carcinogens. THC contains no such thing. So what I don't understand is why we are letting people light tobacco on fire but not marijuana, and why an alternative to relax can ruin someone's life. So I, along with a lot of the other people that spoke today, support the parallel ordinance, which wouldn't ruin people's lives for smoking marijuana, something which is their right, something which helps them to relax. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Denson, 290 Midway Road. Of course, also want to throw my support behind Sunday bus service, but I think you all know that already. After saying that, I would also like to put, I've already publicly stated that I do support a parallel ordinance when dealing with marijuana possession here in Athens, Clarke County. And I do also realize that this is a very difficult topic. It would obviously there would be a lot of complications getting involved in this, and it's not something you can just do outright. But there is legal precedence in other communities doing this, and I think all of you guys, I know you well enough that I know that you see the benefit of doing something like this, of not ruining somebody's life simply because they have a joint in their pocket, of being able to, instead of put somebody in a prison cell, to maybe try to deal with them and have them go through and support going through rehab or something like that. The parallel ordinance could really help with this, because instead of putting somebody in a prison cell, which is going to be a huge cost to taxpayers like myself and to the county, we'd actually be bringing in a little bit of revenue from the fees, which we could be using to go towards rehab programs, whatever it is we want to come up with. So what I would like to challenge the members of the Legislative Review Committee, I believe Commissioners Wright, Gertz, Sims, Dickerson, and Bailey, I believe, to possibly request having this parallel ordinance simply put to the LRC on the agenda for discussion. I'm not asking that you guys pass this. I know it's very complicated, but it's obvious here it needs to be discussed. These kids I know are going to come every single week until it happens, so you might as well do it. So I ask that it be added to the agenda of the LRC, and let's start having an official discussion about this, about what we could be doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Denson.